at 6 o'clock straight up. We'll bring up the meeting to order. Ms. Ray, would you please call the roll of council?
The Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Alex Heath.
Present.
The Honorable Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Samantha Hudson.
Present.
The Honorable Hattie Portis Jones.
Present.
The Honorable Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
The Honorable James Whitmore.
All right, thank you so much. At this time, go ahead and sound the first item.
The first item is going to be the strategic planning update by Leader Gov.
Righty. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How you doing today?
Pleasure to see all of you again and
Yes.
spend some time here tonight providing you with an update on the work that's been going on in the last couple of months since we saw you last. Maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it seems like. So I'm Bill Stark. Tim Finbird and I are going to walk through this together. I'll do a section, Tim will do a section, and we really want this to be just what we said, an update. Here's where we are with the plan, and of course, to answer questions you might have, ideas, thoughts. This is not in concrete yet. This plan is not in concrete. We're getting ready to pour the concrete, and it's going to get hard pretty fast. So the train's moving, but this is a great opportunity tonight to say, here's the status, here's where we are, and get your thoughts, your questions, and your input on what we're doing. So thank you for letting us come. It's been a joy to work with Ms. Chris and City Manager Phillips, the staff. They've been very supportive and just on top of it. Big kudos to the staff. So, all right, well, I'll get moving here. We'll keep this thing moving. I think I showed you all this slide when we first met. Proper planning prevents poor performance, the 5 Ps of planning. And I don't know James Baker, but I like that quote. If we don't have a plan to the degree that we agree upon as much as we can, we're just asking for poor performance if we don't have a plan. And so your effort, your desire to do this, to do it right, is very much appreciated. And I know the citizens are going to appreciate it as well. What we're going to end up with here at the end of the day is an organized, structured plan for the future of the city. Organized, structured plan for the future of the city. And we're looking at the next 3 or 4 years, not 10 years, not 20 years, just the next 3 or 4 years. Y'all got a lot going on. All righty, well, just wanted to give you a kind of a quick snapshot of where we are in the process. I think we showed you these exact 3 buckets last time. On the far left is stakeholder input. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. Tim is going to talk about where we are with our goals. We're going to show you the goals. They're in the PowerPoint that you've got in front of you. And the last part is getting this plan adopted, getting it written, and communicating it out to the public so the public knows what the plan is. So I want to focus on that green box just for a little while this evening with you. The green box is about, if I had to frame the green box up in a couple of words, it would be people need to be heard. People need to be heard. Your citizens need to be heard, and they were. We heard them loud and clear. The staff needs to be heard, and you all need to be heard. And so that was really the whole purpose of information gathering. So we had 2 town hall events early in the process. We interviewed each of you individually on Zoom for an hour, 45 minutes. Got your thoughts on where you're coming from, what's important to you. We had a retreat, an off-site retreat down in Fayetteville. We're able to spend a lot of time kind of digging into some of the details. We got great input from you all at that retreat. We met with the staff in groups of about 4 or 5. We had about 4 or 5 meetings with little clusters of the staff. They provided a lot of feedback. And I want to review with you for a little bit here. I'm not going to bore you to tears tonight, but I do want to tell you what each of these groups said, kind of at a high level. I'm going to go kind of fast. If you hear something that's of interest to you, just, we can slow down. We can talk about whatever you'd like to drill down on. So the citizens. The citizens focused on the community, mainly parks and mainly recreation programs, more recreation programs. You know, this is very citizen-facing. Parks is obviously very citizen-facing. Reopening what y'all used to do with farmers market, more youth programs, amphitheater, a community center. So we moved from Parks and Rec, we moved to downtown, restaurants, sit-down restaurants, a little bit of paint, a few more places to sit in downtown, but the development of downtown, even lighting, walking trails coming into downtown, gazebos, things of that nature is what we heard from the citizens loud and clear. So downtown and beautification were kind of a big area for the citizens. Traffic and infrastructure came up a lot. The trucks to some degree, and moving traffic around in that sense, but also on the infrastructure side, things like adding sidewalks, adding street lighting. All these things, of course, are very expensive. Street lights, I mean, in a turning lane's $1 million almost. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. So one of the things that we are excited about in this plan is that we hope that what you'll see is a prioritized plan, because we can't do everything. And I think we said that several months ago. We can't do everything, but we can do some things. So anyway, a lot of expensive things on infrastructure, upgrading the water, sewer systems. We even talked about finding alternative water sources for the city, long-term, 5-10 years from now. Very important for your future that you have alternative water sources beyond what you have today. Public parking, better leverage the Renaissance Festival. That came up a couple of times. How can we really take that and do something with it beyond what it is today as a city? Then the citizens talked about business and economic development, restaurants, car dealerships, tourism potentially, maybe create a land bank. These were some ideas that the citizens had. And lastly, senior services, senior housing was a big thing for the citizens. So of all the citizen input, that's kind of what it boiled down to. When we met with you all individually and heard from you, again, I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but you said council alignment. So can we come together and act as one?
That's right.
Can we agree? And if we can't agree, can we do it in a polite, professional manner? So that came up a few times. Downtown was big on y'all's list. More restaurants, shopping, things that revitalize downtown. Housing support, rehabilitate aging homes. A thoughtful view of density. I know y'all did the comp plan recently, and y'all spent some time on that. Public safety came up. Of course, the new public safety building. Liability issues came up. SOPs, do we really have clear SOPs in our city? You all talked about economic development, grocery stores, entertainment, highlighting the charm of Fayetteville, or not Fayetteville, Fairburn. Traffic and trucks and parking came up with you as well. We got to continue to improve what we're doing. Traffic flow with trucks, with parking. Financial transparency, quality of life and community identity came up as well. Y'all were kind of mirroring a lot of things the citizens said in terms of family-oriented activities, more of them for the community, and celebrating kind of the small-town charm of Fairburn, as well as the idea of being progressive, and we're on to new things. So that was what you all said, kind of in a nutshell. Lastly, I'll share the department heads. When we met with them, they, of course, were more operationally focused than you. They wanted to really get into the details of projects, which is their world, right? That's what they do when they wake up every day. But they said a lot of the same things, upgrading power systems, burying power cables, upgrading the water facilities where we got old facilities underground, really improving some of our public buildings. They talked about economic development, creating a unique experience for people. Technology and innovation came up in the staff, did not come up with you all or the citizens, but they're in it every day. They're using the technology. But they wanted to see some improvements in that area. Transportation and mobility, again, kind of echoing what you all had shared. Quality of life. Financial planning, developing a long-term financial strategy. Identifying diverse sources of revenue and income. Stabilizing the labor force. And then they talked about image and the city image and engagement. This is kind of an interesting thing. I'll just close with this. Not unlike other cities, when we were talking to the citizens would say, well, we need more blank. And thank God somebody was there from the staff said, well, we're already doing that. The citizen was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Now, you all do a great job of communicating to the citizenry. Really, we see a lot of cities connect well to the citizens, communicate well, and not. You all do it well. But there's always room for improvement, right? How can we get the word out better? So, well, it was kind of interesting to hear a lot of the things some of the things they wanted, the city is already doing.
Yeah.
They just wanted to maybe have it more visible to them. But there was I guess to close my thought, there was an interest in improving citizen engagement. In fact, that became one of the 4 pillars of the plan. How can we connect to citizens, engage them more, have them participate in more events, have them contribute, have more public events, and have the community just connected more to the city and create places where citizens could come and just enjoy being a Fairburn citizen. That was kind of a surprise to me that there was this real energy behind citizen engagement, which is an awesome topic. So I'll close there just with this part, and I just wanted to review some of that with you. Anything in there stand out to you, or I hope it all made sense? Any thoughts?
Does any member of the council have a question at this point?
Yes, I have a question. Could you, it's great seeing you guys again, and thank you for the fantastic work you've done thus far. The retreat was outstanding, and I think we learned a lot and we contributed a lot as well. Relative to the citizens' engagement, did the citizens offer any specific ideas or strategies that we can employ for citizen engagement? Because that is a constant battle. We're hearing they want to be engaged, yet we're being challenged. They're not engaged. So help me with that disconnect.
Yeah. What is it, Tim? You go ahead.
These are the notes for citizen engagement.
Yeah, okay. And I'm not sure if these were this is from the staff, so strengthen branding and storytelling. So from my memory, they did not offer many suggestions about how to improve engagement, but it came up in our staff conversations much more. So we felt a disconnect when we talked to the citizens. Well, you should do this. Well, no, we already do it. And it wasn't tons of things. I mean, they're informed. Oh, sorry. So it wasn't. This isn't like a big problem. They're informed. There's just a need and an ability and an opportunity to inform more. Maybe it's texting citizens if they want to, join a text group. I don't know if y'all do that or not. Maybe it's having more town hall style meetings where you go out in the community and you engage the citizens in neighborhood HOA type meetings. I don't know how frequently you all do that, but that could be increased perhaps. So there are a lot of ways to connect and engage with citizens that I think could probably be strengthened as a result of this work.
Well, I would welcome any other ideas or suggestions that you may have that you've experienced from other cities. or governments in that regard to help us try to bridge that gap.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good point.
Yes, one more.
Go ahead.
Yes, I think that's a great insight, but I wanted some clarity on that in reference to the engagement part. Was this department heads, our staff wanting this more, that we needed to do more? Which stakeholder?
Yes,
Was it?
yes. Oh, yes.
It was a staff.
Yes, that there was a lot to offer that could be communicated, and we could have higher, like, how many people come to our park event? And can we grow the number of people coming to our park events? It was seen as an opportunity.
For staff to be more involved in it, okay.
Well, staff was saying, we think there's an opportunity for our citizens to be more engaged.
Oh, for the citizens
Yes.
to be, not us, not for them to be more engaged
No.
with the citizens.
No.
Okay, all right, that's where I needed
No,
some
sorry for
clarity
that.
on that. Yeah,
Great, that's a great point. The city's doing a lot to connect with citizens, but, you know, how many of our citizens participate in our sporting events in the city versus how many could?
Okay, okay,
It's an opportunity.
okay, yeah, okay. Thank you for that clarity.
Heath, you had
My question is, on Parks and Recreation, we have a terrific person that is overseeing the day-to-day operation there. And she has things for the seniors as well as for the swimming and teaching them how to swim and stuff like that. So is there anything else that maybe we're missing that the stakeholders would like to have?
Yeah, that's, youth programs came up, more for the elderly, more for senior citizens. There was conversation about a community center for everybody, not just a youth center, but a community center. But senior citizen programming came up, youth center programming came up. Of course, there's a lot going on with renovating baseball fields and things of that nature, opening up spaces for soccer.
Right.
Those are all big growth opportunities for the city that came up.
And I would add, you know, there is an extensive park plan. And so largely what we were doing is incorporating some of those elements from that plan into the strategic plan and making it priority. That's the park plan is a very big plan. Can't do it all, probably. So what's most important? So I think a lot of the things that came out of park kind of came from that plan. Sure.
Well, did they mention anything about maybe a basketball gym? Because that is something that the council person, Whitmore, was really wanting to see. And I thought it was an excellent idea because we really have a lot of youth, and we need to take care of the time because I was a cop here for 10 years, and idle hands are the devil's workshop. So what I'm saying is that, in my opinion, it would be great to have something in that. But did anybody mention anything about a basketball?
A community center would I
Community
would
center?
say would
Okay.
include that. Yeah, that was the biggest, and you know, amphitheater was brought up as well. Amphitheaters are expensive, right? Community centers are
We got
expensive.
one of those.
It's a big topic. I just want to emphasize to you that the staff saw this as a tremendous opportunity for the city, an area of great opportunity of growth. And when your citizens are engaged, they stay here, and then they tell their cousins to move here. And that's what we want.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cesar?
Yes, so I want to, hi, this is a comment and a question, I guess. Strategic plan tells us the what, and we are to determine the how. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a great question. Everybody kind of has different words to frame up a strategic plan. In our vernacular, in our wording, and maybe we're saying the same thing, the council tells us where and what. What is the goal? We're going to build an amphitheater, or we're going to revitalize downtown. That's what we're going to do in 2 years. And when we say revitalize, we mean X number of stores, whatever. So that's what. How is really kind of the strategy. We're going to attract 2 restaurants. We're going to have an expo downtown, we're gonna have arts festivals downtown, we're gonna do all of those strategies to grow and revitalize downtown. So you all did the work of saying, here are the priority areas that are most important, here are the goals that are most important. We have a bunch of goals Tim's gonna go over. That's what we call the what. What are we gonna do? Where are we going? The staff then came along and said, here's how we're gonna get there. And those are what we call strategies, the how. And staff is, I guess we should have mentioned this earlier, staff is creating and has created for the large part, we're finishing it up right now, the strategies, the how, which is kind of the action part. Does that make sense? I
Yeah,
hope?
you were right. I had it backwards because I was going to follow up with this. My mind has been kind of busy a lot. So when we look at the community engagement, when we talk, this was big for me. And it's important that we have the budget in place to support this because, and we have the infrastructure because there's council, there's staff, and that the community has a diverse approach to engagement, which means, and this is something that I want to see, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. As we build this strategy, what is the infrastructure for this? How will council engage the citizens collectively as a body, individually in their own right as elected members, as well as our staff? That's what's important, because then now they have accountability on 3 levels. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the big benefits of a plan is the fact that staff has direction from you all, strategic priority direction. But this is a living document, right? So for example, you're approving your budget right now for fiscal 26, 27.
Right.
We don't have the plan published yet. So I would think next year at this time, when Ms. Chris comes to you with, or one of her directors comes to you with a request for more staff in an area, a logical question would be, is that in alignment with our plan? I mean, that's how this all works together. You're kind of through the budget process. It's kind of too late a little bit. But I think next year and the year after that and the year after that, it really should work hand in glove with the plan. That's how they justify what they need, and you can hold them accountable for the results that you want. Does that kind of make sense?
It makes absolutely sense. Thank you.
Mr. Whitmore, you had.
Sorry, Tony, I hope that was okay to say.
No, that's exactly how it should work.
You know, we have this slide, it's kind of the last slide of this section, and we just wanted to, oh, please, yes, sir.
Hold on, sir. Mr. Whitmore, do you have a question? Okay, go ahead, sir.
So my colleague already alluded to the community center, but I just wanted to make sure that in your final draft, it's a community center, yes, and that's probably the proper vernacular to use for it because we want the community as a whole. Right now, the city of Fairburn, with the amount of citizens that we have, we don't have a place large enough for a mass gathering. All right, so that community center will serve as a multi-purpose building, if you will. But it's not just the basketball courts, okay? It's the classrooms, it's the aerobicize, the various things that recreation would be bringing forth as activities for the citizens of the city, as well as, and it's a 3-part plan, and I believe it's in the master plan, natatorium, indoor swimming pool, as well as a walking trail. So it's massive, but again, as I stated during the budget process, we have to be a forward-thinking city because what we do now is for the future, all right? So this document that you're putting together now is for our future. And I just wanted to just highlight that just a little bit, and that's just one aspect of it. There's probably a whole lot more what you're gonna have in your document, but just wanted to just put special emphasis on at least that community center.
Yeah, I think as we go through these priorities, which we're going to give you back, that we talked about at the retreat, and start to hear the goals, be thinking about the things that you want to get done, right? And how do they fall in line with these strategic priorities? I think you'll find that they do. Quality of life, engagement, you know, are all, a community center kind of lines up with that really, really nicely. You know, parks, about health, we've got a goal about citizen health, boom. falls right in line with that.
All ties in.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. So, yeah, this, any other questions, sir?
Well, and the comment I was gonna make is, and apparently, I guess when you talked about the staff saying they probably need to communicate more, I guess because coincidentally, one of the areas that you mentioned, actually, Mr. Heath brought it up in this case, the seniors, we've got senior citizen programs beyond belief. I get a call, I got several seniors that call me every week after they come to the different programs and mention again, I want to, I thank the director of the department as well as Mr. Berria that has done just a phenomenal job. And so apparently what's falling short is the messaging because the senior programs at City Fair, matter of fact, the issue we're having is that seniors from other cities are trying to flood our program, so and our seniors are not having enough room to get in. So, again, like you said, messaging in this case apparently must be a concern. But you can always improve. In this case, our improvement, I guess, iterating what the staff said was about messaging, and because there's a lot of youth programs too. But I'm in particular about the seniors. I get to hear literally a couple of people that go every week. So just wanted to ditto that.
Yeah. And again, I'll reiterate one last time, you all have a very smart, professional group doing communication. We see a lot of cities, and I'm not just saying that to say it, you do, but it's an opportunity to do it wider, broader, deeper.
Correct.
And it's gonna help your citizens.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, really, just wanted to comment that this is your plan. In fact, we'll be back in September for you to adopt a plan. So it is based on your input. It's based on community input, staff input, our retreats that we've had with you all. We did I don't think you mentioned a survey. There was also a survey conducted that citizens had an opportunity to provide input. But your participation is really the key here. From participating in the events that we've had to even tonight, it's at the end of the day, you're gonna have to vote for this plan. And will you get everything you want in this plan? Probably not. But again, it's a way to put the city forward and kind of draw a line in the sand and say, we are gonna commit to something going forward in a plan. So again, I just wanna thank you for your input. And we wanna get into some goals. But first, we wanna talk about priorities. So there's a list. You all saw this list at the retreat. This list comes from our experience doing strategic planning. There are, no surprise, about 11 or 12 main priorities that the city can focus on. And by the way, they are all important. I would say there is no single priority that's more important than any other priority. For example, we see improved public safety, number 6. I know the chief is at the front door for us tonight. Fact that may or may not be on your list of 4, because we can't do all 11, actually is a good thing, because the way we kind of framed this for you all was, where do you want to put an additional effort over the next 3 or 4 years? It doesn't mean we're going to allow public safety to take a step back because it's not directly written in the plan. It means that we're good there, right? We don't need to shore that up. So these priorities, we all agreed we can't do everything. We spent a lot of time with you kind of saying what were the main things, the 4 or 5 that we wanted to focus on. Again, this came from all the survey work that we did. And this is what you all talked about and landed on at the retreat. No surprise. Growth. Now listen to these words and see if this didn't kind of line up with what we heard from the citizens. Growth in economic development, quality of life, no surprise. Improved transportation, sidewalks, trails, utilities, no surprise. Citizen engagement and transparency. So of the kind of broader list of 11 priorities, those were the 4 that really stood out. I think we even said, if you had an extra $10 million, where would you write the check? And it was in these 4 areas. But I want to really emphasize, it doesn't mean that we're going to allow public safety to slide or any of the other 7 that are not highlighted. We're going to continue to make those investments, but maybe not incremental investments. So as you consider new projects, and where you're going to spend your revenues, maybe these are some areas that you want to look into. So those are the priorities. That's at the kind of the top of the pyramid. From a plan perspective, that's where we start, and that's where you all landed. Any questions about those 4 priorities?
Would you do me, yes, sir, would you do me a favor? And I mean, I know what it means in my perspective, kind of like the conversation we had during the budget about what culture means to different people. Would you explain, for public reasons, what quality of life, what that includes? I know what my perspective is, but I wanted You just said.
So if you're a cyclist, it means a place to ride my bike. It means something different to everyone. But in the broadest picture, it means people thriving in your community. You're right, Mr. Mayor. It's very hard to put your thumb on that, but it's creating opportunities for your citizens to thrive, their quality of life. They're feeling good about being a part of this community. That's their quality of life. It's a very broad area. It ends up on almost every strategic plan we write. Quality of life almost has to be there, because if it's not, who would want to be part of a community that doesn't have a high quality of life?
Right.
So I'm sorry I can't give you an answer, but your answer would be different than my answer. That would be different than Mr. Hightower's answer. So we all have different ways of evaluating quality of life.
Mr. Hightower?
Hightower.
Mr. Hightower?
Mr. Whitboy, that was
Excuse me, sir.
I know Michael Hightower, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Ms. Davis, I mean, Ms. Jones. I'm
he
sorry.
just did the same thing.
Oops.
Okay.
Ms. Jones.
I apologize, Mr. Whitman.
Do you know of any metrics to help us measure quality of life and how citizens rank that or feel about it?
Yeah, there is a national survey that can be conducted. I say a national survey that many cities use to kind of measure the satisfaction with quality of life that citizens have. That certainly is one way. You have to kind of put a number on. And I'll give you an example. In our parks goal, we've got improved citizen health. Okay, well, that's a very broad, open goal. I think that's a quality of life goal for sure. Ultimately, that's going to have to be kind of measured, right? What is the current status of the quality of life, the health matrix for this community? Because if our parks program is really after more healthy citizens, then our programming needs to contribute to that, but we have to know where we are. So in most of these goals, there was kind of a need for benchmarking. And we don't have a lot of that information, quite frankly. So I think we're kind of, in a lot of cases, engaging staff to say, what is the KPI, which Ms. Chris and I talk about a lot. What are the things that we can measure about where we are today, so that we know that when we put programs and invest in facilities, that we're moving the needle. So in most cases, it's hard to measure what quality of life is, but there are some survey work that can be done that we're talking to staff about.
Okay, well, thank you. That's good to know, and we'll have a conversation with staff about using that. And then secondly, strategic plan is a dynamic document, is that not correct?
It is.
Meaning that if we pass it today, doesn't mean we can't tweak it tomorrow.
100% yes.
So my question to you is, what are some of the things that we need to be aware of to say we need to tweak the strategic plan or the decisions we've made, but other than budgetary?
Right.
Because that's an obvious one, but what other things?
I think it's as simple as really staff being transparent about the progress they're making on these goals. To let you know that, I mean, there's some low-hanging fruit, some things that are already kind of in progress, that the staff is going to make very quick progress on. There are some other things that are more complex, are going to take more time, but the plan will change over the 2, 3, 4, 5 years based on how well you all are maybe on an annual basis reevaluating how do we need to change our goals. Because you're right, it is a dynamic tool. You see too many cities that do a plan, put it on a shelf, they did their plan, and they're done with it. And our hope and our prayer is that's not what you do, and that's what we're talking to staff about, is how can you continually report progress and then engage you all on a periodic basis to say, what's an update to this plan? That is the best practice. And it requires some intention, because trust me, the tendency is to do this every 5 years, and I think it's a mistake. It's not a mistake to do every 5 years, it's a mistake to not pull it out every year and say, where are we? What do we need to refresh? That is the best practice. That's the way it'll stay current.
And I would also ask, as you go through the goals, if you could also talk about the alignment with the comprehensive plan, because that too is a 5-year plan. I believe this year we passed the comp plan, right? So the comp plan would have, say, a year ahead of the strategic plan, somewhere improvement. But they should be very closely aligned, I would think. Is that correct?
Well, in our opinion, and when we had our meeting, we did a two joint meetings, well, one joint meeting with the comprehensive plan team. And we actually positioned the strategic plan above the comprehensive plan, suggesting that the comp plan actually feeds into the strategic plan, not the other way around. The comp plan gets into a lot of detail about what things should look like, what the, what's the feel going to be here. The strategic plan is these higher level priorities really kind of sit above that. So I don't know, I've not read the final draft. Has it been adopted? It has not been adopted yet, so I don't really, can't speak to that directly.
It's a good point. Were there opportunities to maybe write it in such a way that the two blend together better? I think that's a good takeaway, so I'm glad you brought that up. In terms of changing the strategic plan going forward, tweaking it, you all really have to have an annual retreat. And you probably do now. I don't know the history of your retreats, but getting away for a day or a day and a half and letting the walls down and being honest with each other and looking each other in the eye and getting updates from staff, as Tim said, super valuable. You're going to bring in things you're hearing in the community, so your retreat is a big part of how you keep connected to this and how you keep it malleable, changeable. So.
Well, thank you for that. I was surprised by that comment, so, but very valuable, so thank you.
Yeah, I think we're most excited about the fact that you took the step to do this plan. It's unlike the comprehensive plan, which is required by statute. A strategic plan is optional. So I think the fact that you've made this investment, I think, protects the idea that you're going to keep it current, I would hope, because you've made this investment in it. That's the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions at this stage? Keep going.
Okay, so we've got our 4 priorities. You got them in your mind? So here are the goals that we talked about at the retreat. We spent some time, then we went back to staff at their retreat and kind of flushed these out. But this was largely your work at the retreat that we're kind of giving back to you. And I don't know that I necessarily need to read these to you, but it should be no surprise that as you see these kind of touch points on these 7 goals, the first priority is economic development. And by the way, these are not in priority order. So there's 4 priorities. I would say those are equal priorities. So priority number 1 is expanding economic development, and no surprise, these are all things that you all have already been talking about. These are not necessarily new things, but these are things that we said need more emphasis. They need incremental effort to achieve. Some of these are kind of already in progress. A couple of them are kind of longer term. Don't think about this all in 2026. Remember, some of these things may happen in 27, 28, and 29 until perhaps you adopt a new plan. So those are the 4, this is the first of the 4 priorities, expanding economic development. And again, this shows up in many city plans for sure. So I guess I would just maybe open up the floor. Again, I don't, Mr. Mayor, necessarily need to read these, but sir.
Well, I want to ask, maybe we're not there yet, and it's maybe not with you all, but I guess for us, because these are very vague, goals. So I heard us speak about, plans being made and then they just sit to the side. But I guess because I'm going through it at work too, we're focusing on wildly important goals, right? So instead of grow the number by such and such, we'll do such and such. Now, is that the work? Like I said, it might not be with you all, it might be with us as staff. I think that's how it's not going to just become a document. Yeah, we can have our yearly retreat, but then the day-to-day, month-to-month work is going to be done in-house. So is that somewhere in this?
Great. I want to make sure we're all in the same, using the same terms, because this is really important. So we start with these priorities, 4 priorities. We've got goals under each priority. The real work are the strategies that support these goals.
Yes.
That's where the real meat hangs. Yeah. That's what staff is working on right now. We've seen a draft of this. We're kind of going back and forth. How many restaurants, by what date?
Right.
They need to be very smart in
so
terms
then
of.
we can measure if
Need
we're
to be
tracking
measurable
toward that.
completely, 100%. So these strategies, and then underneath strategies are tasks, right? All the
Yes.
things that we've got to do
And
day to day to
who
make it
is
happen.
responsible
And
for
who's
the
responsible
task?
for it.
A whole, you know,
Right.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, that will probably need to end up in some very large spreadsheet or some computer system that tracks that progress.
Yes, because that's going to allow us to be able to pivot and rethink if we're not tracking toward that. you know.
Correct. So these goals are kind of what you should be asking staff. How are we making progress on this? Show me that this is going to happen or when it's going to happen. How they do it are in the strategy, the strategies underneath this. Now, the plan will actually highlight both priorities, goals, and strategies. So that strategy component will be part of the public document that you'll vote on next month. So those are being worked on right now.
Okay,
staff.
thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Jones, go ahead.
So goal 7, regarding the nonprofit, we actually talked about that Thursday night at our budget hearings. And it was much broader, though, than just the 2 items that you're listing. And when we, council, had the retreat, I don't recall us talking about the technology piece. So could you just talk a little bit about nonprofit to fund technology? What does that mean? I think it's a great idea, but I want to make sure I'm understanding what that is.
As I recall, that was to help offset the costs of internet.
For citizens, then?
For citizens,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
Where you would make a grant
yes,
application.
yes.
Instead of $80 a month, it's now 40 or 20, based on your income, based on whatever the criteria are.
We did talk about that at the retreat. Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Keep going.
Yep. Good. Second, here's, Mr. Mayor, your improved quality of life. So these are the items, again, very high level. As you look at these goals, we wanted to give you a sense of what council talked about at the retreat. Improved health of our citizens. There's parks, no surprise. It's a big component in there. Parks is mentioned a couple different times. Walkability. Key partners that we want to engage with. And, of course, reinvesting in our current facilities. So no surprise, these quality of life goals are very aspirational. There's a lot of room here for staff to be very creative in how they achieve these goals or make progress towards these goals. Is it familiar to y'all?
Yes.
Yes.
This should not be, oh my gosh, what are they saying?
No,
This
no,
is
no,
all
no.
stuff that we talked about a lot.
I'll just add, Mr. Smallwood, number 5, enhance relationship with key partners. Pretty vague idea, isn't it?
Yes.
Big picture, good
Yes.
idea. Who would argue with that?
Right.
We're asking staff, how many partners? Which partners?
Yes.
Where? How? These are all the details of
By when.
miles by when,
Yes.
when. So your statement is we have 5 times as much data on all the strategies.
Okay.
That's been developed. So your question is very good.
All right, thank you.
All right, number 3, improving city infrastructure. Very creative. The team who works in this area was very passionate about the work that needs to be done there. Transportation shows up in this item. Water is, of course, a big deal here, water supply, utility services, roadways, and some feasibility work on a city amphitheater. So again, infrastructure, no surprise, this is one of our key components. If we look down the road 10 years, we ask ourselves, what investments do we need to make now to be the city that we want to be 10 or 15 years from now? The answer is infrastructure. So when you see those kinds of strategies and those kinds of investments they're asking you to make, it needs to kind of line up with our goals here. Good. And the last one is citizen engagement, grow citizen engagement. What does that mean? Partnership in city events, communication in our events, education, kind of being one of the cornerstones of good citizen engagement. And I guess I would reinforce Bill's point earlier that, I would say all the questions we were asked in our public meetings were on the website somewhere. It's a fact. It was there. I think citizens just don't know where to find that data sometimes. So that's an area that needs some work. Council engagement, right? The citizens need to hear from you. They need to hear about how you want to interact with them so staff gets the information they need. So always, again, we're not saying we're bad here. It's just this is where we heard you all say we needed to get better. and that's where we want to put an emphasis. Good. So those are the 4 priorities. And, kind of in summary, staff, as we said, is in the process of developing these strategies for every goal on this list, multiple strategies for every goal. They need to be measurable. They need to have key indicators associated with them, dates, timelines, all the things that make them smart, as we know. And maybe the most important thing is specific actionable next steps, because that's the only way we can hold each other accountable, is when we're willing to kind of put ourselves out there that way. After the adoption, the plan will require visibility, and we're currently talking to staff about what that will look like. There'll be a written document. That's our deliverable to you. Question is, what do you then do with that document? And how do you then track your progress on it? How do you, after a year or so, update the document? It needs to be a living document, to your point earlier. So that's where we're going in this area.
Awesome.
Okay, well, we're going to land the plane here in just a moment, but I did want to touch on 3 areas that we talked about at the retreat and things that we picked up from you in conversation and from the citizens as well. And it has to do with having a vision as a city. What is the long-term, where we want to go? What type of city do we want to become? Because we're never there, right? We're always striving. And then what's our mission? What are we all about? What's our daily grind? What's our daily life like as a city? What are we trying to accomplish every day? And then how do we want to behave? You all with each other, citizens, the staff, how do we want to hold each other up? What level of character do we want to exhibit in the way we go about doing our business? So we did develop a vision statement based on what we got from you all at the retreat. It's shown here. We want to be a unified city. It creates a caring, inclusive, prosperous, and healthy place to live, work, and play. A lot in there. Has a lot of words and a lot of action around that. I like the idea of being unified. So if we look at this not just as some pretty words on a plaque, we would say, well, are we unified? Are we unified? And we'd have to answer that. Are we or are we not? And maybe there's seasons where we're not totally unified, right? And there's seasons where we are. That's okay. That's life. Are we unified as a staff? Are we creating a prosperous place for people to come and live? And so all these words kind of play into our strategies and into our goals. Are we inclusive? Do our parks and trail systems reach every neighborhood? Or do we have a park within a mile of every neighborhood? This would be kind of an inclusive type of idea. So that's the vision statement. If we got into a long, drawn out what word to leave in, what word to add, we could be here about 3 or 4 hours this evening. This is a very difficult topic, creating a vision statement, but we do want to respect this is not in concrete yet. So if there are words or ideas that you have in this, please feel free to pass those on to administration, and we can see if we can integrate some of your ideas into it. But that's our vision statement. The mission is a little different. The mission's about what you do every day. When you wake up in the morning, our mission is to intentionally listen to the needs of the community and provide quality services that exceed normal. That's what we do every day. All your staff, when they wake up in the morning, that's their job in general. And then the values that we talked about at the retreat are, we spent a fair amount of time on this. Integrity is number 1. Positive attitude. Even when I'm upset and mad and my kids aren't acting right, I'm going to have a positive attitude when I come into this council meeting. Period. I am. And if I don't, you can hold me accountable, because I said I was going to. Right? Compassion. I love number 3.
Yeah.
Compassion. Compassion for our citizens, for where they are, what they need. High standards, proactive leadership, effective communication, public education. We're going to write with the staff, we'll be writing a sentence for each of these, kind of to describe it. And again, if you would like to weigh in on that with any thoughts, just let us know. We'll be happy to listen. And again, this is not in concrete yet, so. All right, so any thoughts on that before we scoot on? I know we got limited time here, but I did want to just pause before we moved on. Good?
Any members of court?
Okay.
Okay, keep going, sir.
Thank you. Very good. Well, our next steps are to finalize the staff's work on these strategies. That's going on right now. We're close to the end of that. We're getting close. We were then going to write the plan. That'll happen literally in the next couple of weeks. Okay, we're going to write up a description of all that's kind of transpired. Your communications department is going to make it nice, attractive, beautiful document that your citizens can be proud of. And then we'll bring it before you all in September and have you adopt it. And so we look forward to that process. Did I leave anything out?
I would just add, and then the work really begins. This was the easy part.
Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you all for your, yes, ma'am.
Yes. I would just like to say I thank you, Bill and Tim, for your coaching us at the retreat. And I'm very impressed with your presentation, the vision and the mission and everything. Very strategic words and adjectives that I like in reference to what you have crafted, because I know we talked about a lot of stuff and threw out a lot of stuff. So I appreciate the way you have refined it, is what I would say. And thank you for your efforts.
You know, we hope that all those words that we heard from you, we wanted to make it yours, make it uniquely Fairburn's, no one else's.
Right.
That's what we're after here.
Yeah.
Ms. Jones?
So at the Georgia Municipal Association's annual convention this past June in Savannah, the keynote speaker was Horton, I believe, Ken, I think is his first name. He is the author of The Energy Bus and Positive Leadership. And so, I mean, I've gotten his name correctly, but you recognize the books. And I just, he talked, of course, the point of his message was about positive leadership, and that was also the theme of the convention this year. I would ask if you can assist staff / communications specifically with the overlay of the strategic plan and the comprehensive plan, because our citizens are very, very, very familiar with the comp plan, and to help guide how this, as you stated earlier, guides the comp plan, although we did it first. If you could assist with that, as well as talk about, you call it proactive leadership, maybe add positive to it, or somewhere in this, just to talk about positive leadership and what that means, you know, for the city. Thank you.
When we shared the values with the staff, we spent a lot of time talking about how can we celebrate when we live these things out, and how can we hold each other accountable when we fall short. And we're going to do both those things. So I think it's a challenge for staff to keep that in mind, but I know these two are really focused on making sure that both those things happen. We celebrate when we get there, and we hold each other accountable when we fall short.
And it's no different for mayor and council either. No.
I want Tim to share one more thing. Before we were standing out in the hallway, I asked Tim, I said, Tim, what surprised you the most in this effort over the last few months? I just wanted to find out what his thoughts were. I want you to tell him.
It was staff. It was just, we were blown away about how strong your staff is, and how professional they are, how caring they were.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for that. Very timely.
Okay, with that being all, members of council, I think we've got about 6 minutes, according to my clock.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, those who have come in, could you please turn your cell phones to the silent position? And and we'll start promptly at 7 o'clock.